Good evening. In 1988, Missourians passed a constitutional amendment that allows the General Assembly to conduct a special session when it deems necessary. For the first time in the history of our state, the General Assembly has initiated this constitutional provision. Just a few minutes ago, a petition was delivered to the Secretary of State calling the General Assembly into a special session beginning on May 18th. This was not a decision made lightly, and certainly not without great deliberation and effort. As everyone knows, it requires the signatures of 3/4 of the members of the House and 3/4 of the members of the Senate. Regretfully, the call of this historic act is for the sole purpose to consider the findings and recommendation of the House committee, including disciplinary actions against Governor Greitens. Members signed this petition because they believe in a fair process that will not be rushed to conclusion by an artificial deadline. But make no mistake about it, today's actions ensure that there will be a conclusion to this process. The power to discipline elected officials is the most serious of legislative powers. In recognition of this fact, the House and the Senate agree that the committee should have the time it needs to conduct a fair, thorough, and timely investigation. This decision to go into special session means as our regular session continues, the committee will move forward with its charge to investigate and collect relevant information surrounding the conduct of Governor Greitens. The full General Assembly, however, will remain focused on what has quietly turned into one of the most successful sessions in my time here. This means that we will complete our constitutional duty of passing a balanced budget while also addressing the issues that are important to Missourians. Let me conclude by saying this. This path is not the one that I would have chosen for Missourians or my colleagues. I had hoped from the beginning of this process that the committee would find no wrongdoing so that we could bring this investigation to a close and put all of our attention on the issues that matter most to Missouri families. Unfortunately, this is where the facts led. We will not avoid doing what is right just because it is hard or just because it is not the path we hope to travel. Therefore, we have taken the unprecedented step to continue to follow the facts wherever they may lead. With that, the Pro Tem has a few comments.
Thank you, Speaker. When we signed up for this job, this is exactly where we wanted to be. As a student of history, as the Speaker, I recognize the monumental effort and the consequences of this action. We do respect the process. I do believe the Speaker is right that extra time may be needed to make sure all the facts are found. Things have changing here in the last several weeks, minute by minute. The Speaker and I have met numerous times talking over process and how we proceed. I have to congratulate him on his effort and his team, the Majority Leader in the House and the Senate for their efforts. I will agree that in spite of some distractions we have had, including today, a great effort within the Senate, passing legislation, debate, and I think that speaks volumes of our members in the House and Senate. The Senate stands ready to do their constitutional duty. The House and Senate both have their obligations, and we stand ready to do it if called upon. So in the meantime, we'll continue to do the people's work on the budget, and I think the Speaker is willing to take questions.
Take a few questions.
Does this mean the governor
Go ahead, David.
How many signatures were gathered in this chamber?
138 in the House and 29 in the Senate. That represents well over 80% of the members of both chambers.
Does this mean the governor will be impeached or only that it is on the table?
This means that the committee will have the time it needs to finish the charge we gave it from the beginning, which is to conduct a fair, thorough, and timely investigation and report back to the House of Representatives any recommendations that it has.
So you're envisioning that the committee will need part of that extra 30 days to complete its work before there's any kind of resolution or not?
Yes, I'm anticipating that the committee needs that additional time. How much additional time they need will depend on where the facts lead them. But as I said a couple of weeks ago, this is not going to be a process that has an artificial deadline, but the committee is going to work as expeditiously as it can to complete its work.
But you do only have a 30-day clock starting on the 18th.
That's correct.
Is there a drop-dead time by which you must have a resolution in order to get that to the finish line if that's where the committee goes?
Our special session can continue for 30 days. So we will complete our work in that 30-day time period.
Have you had any conversations with the governor this week?
I have not.
Does the 30-day time period mean you would have to act on the recommendations within that 30 days, or could you just call another 30-day session?
We will finish our work within that period of 30 days.
Is the committee going to call more witnesses?
The committee is in the process of collecting more facts, calling more witnesses, and reviewing more documents.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, sir.
Your former predecessor, former Speaker Hanaway, said yesterday that this was a disservice. The committee reported disservice to the Missouri and U.S. constitutions. She said that they did not cross-examine witnesses. Any reaction to her statements?
The committee's mission at the outset was to collect facts. From the very beginning of this process, the committee has made itself available for any witness the governor wanted to produce, to take testimony from the governor, to review any documents. They remain open to that. So the assertion that the committee has not done its work in reviewing all of the evidence is not something I agree with. Thank you all very much.
I have a question for Ron. This call basically affects the House. What do you anticipate the Senate doing, at least during the early part of this special session, while the House is looking at the committee's work and considering whether or not they would have articles of impeachment?
I mean, we don't have any action item until the House does their job. I mean, it's according to the Constitution, we will, at some outset, if needed, pick 7 eminent jurists. And I will tell you that I've contacted, the majority and I have contacted some people on the bench that are retired that you'd all recognize. I'm not going to mention their names, asking for process, asking how things would proceed. But we have not. All we do is talk about the process in case something happened today.
Will you be releasing the names of those who signed the 29?
I think that's up to the Secretary of State. That'd be a public record.
You guys have been part of the process. Have you started vetting potential?
Have not.
So you would anticipate a number of technical sessions until such time as the House gives you something to do?
You know, I'm not sure if we have to have technical sessions or not. But I'll check and see. I don't know. I haven't considered that. I need to let the House do their job and see what happens before we're engaged. Anybody else?
Procedural question. You guys adjourned sine die 6 p.m. May 18th, so at that point you instantly gavel into special session and wait 30 minutes. How's that work?
That's about it. It should take about 30 minutes, gavel out and gavel back in. We're in special session, yes.
And then the first night is just organizing, calling yourself into special and telling everybody you're here?
That's more or less it. I mean, keep in mind, it's new territory. We haven't done this before, so you might visit with our attorney, Cindy Cadillac, and she'll give you some details of the process. If she's in the audience, you're going to visit her after the press conference. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you. One more. Was there, when the second report was released, did that help put the number of senators signing over the finish line?
I don't know, but it validated my comments weeks ago. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so there you hear it, an unprecedented move announced by the Senate and House leadership there in Jefferson City. They will gavel in a special session that will begin May 18th for what they described as the sole purpose to investigate the findings and the recommendation of that House committee, including disciplinary action against sitting Governor Eric Greitens. Of course, a lot happening with the governor. This special session is set to begin just 4 days after a felony invasion of privacy trial is expected to begin in the city of St. Louis, where he is facing charges a felony charge of invasion of privacy stemming from an affair he had with a woman. And now that woman is tied to this connection of an invasion of privacy charge stemming from a photo that was allegedly taken of her naked. And the accusation against the governor is that he was going to use that as blackmail. That is what the assertion is. That's the case in St. Louis that is expected to begin that court proceeding May 14th. And then 4 days later in Jefferson City, as you heard there from the leader of the House and the Senate, this special session will begin exploring the possibility of impeachment procedures underway. As you heard, unprecedented territory for the Missouri Legislature. They passed a law in 1988 to have the ability to even do this, to investigate possible disciplinary action against a sitting government official. And you heard they needed 3/4 of the Senate and the House. They received that, 138 signatures in the House, 29 in the Senate, making up about 80% of lawmakers agreeing to go forward with this special session. We'll have it all covered for you, a comprehensive report on what developed tonight in Jeff City and our newscast on television on 41 Action News at 10, and any updates, including backstories of how we got to this point, available right now on our Facebook page and at kshb.com. I'm Mike Maruzars at 41 Action News.